Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos, we have the privilege of reading Parshas Chukas. And in Parshas Chukas, we find at the end of the Sedra that it tells us about the wars that took place between Sichon Melech HaAmori and Klal Yisrael and Og Melech HaBashan and Klal Yisrael. And Moshe Rabbeinu went out to conquer Sichon Melech HaAmori, Sichon the king of the Amorites, and Og the king of the Bashan. And when it talks about Og and the war of Sichon, when it comes to Sichon, Moshe Rabbeinu went out against Sichon and immediately was able to conquer him, and there was absolutely no problem. When it came to Og Melech HaBashan, so it says that they went Vayom Hashem El Moshe, because when he turned to go to fight against Og Melech HaBashan, Hashem said to Moshe, Al tira oso, don't be afraid of him. When it came to Og Melech HaBashan, he said, don't be afraid of him. It didn't say that by Sichon, but by Og he said, don't be afraid of him. Ki biyotcha nosati oso, because in your hand I'm going to give him the Eskol Armo and his whole nation, the Es Artso and his land, and you're going to do to him, you're going to be victorious. And there's absolutely no problem. When it came to Sichon, Hashem did not give Moshe Rabbeinu any chizuk to go and do it. He told him to go do it, and it was done. But when it comes to Og, Moshe Rabbeinu needed some chizuk. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu need some chizuk? So Rashi over here tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu was worried when Hashem said, Al tira oso, don't be afraid of him. We find that Rashi says, Shahaya Moshe Yarei Lehilachem Imo. Moshe was afraid to go to war with him. Shema Tamod Lo Zechuso Shel Avram. Maybe the merit of Avram Avinu, that Og Melech HaBashan went to Avram and told him, when there was a war between the 4 kings and the 5, and Lot, his nephew, was captured, Og Melech HaBashan, who was not yet Melech HaBashan at the time, but Og came, and Vayaged LaAvram HaIvri, and he told Avram the Ivri that that his brother Lot, his nephew Lot, was captured, and the pasuk says Vayarek es Chanichav. He got together and armed all of his students. And that refers to Og and Eliezer, and Avram Avinu went to war and captured Lot back. And this mitzvah, this merit that Og came to Avram Avinu and told him about Lot being captured, Shema Yamed Lo Zechuso. Maybe that would be a zechus that many, many, many years later, when the Klal Yisrael under Moshe was going to go and fight against Og Melech HaBashan, maybe this will stand in good stead. That one kind deed, that one merit that Og had to tell Avram that his nephew Lot was captured and Avram was able to save him, that might stand in good stead now when Og was going to be attacked. But when Klal Yisrael was going to go fight against Og, Hashem had to give him a little bit of a chizuk and said, Al tira oso, don't be afraid of him, ki biyodcha nosati oso v'eskol amo, because in your hand I'm going to give him and all his nation. Many, many years ago this took place. Not only that, but if you take a look at the Gemara says that when Og came and told Abraham about the fact that Lot was captured, and Og knew that Avram was going to go fight with the kings to recapture his nephew Lot, Og had an ulterior motive. His ulterior motive, says Chazal, was that Avraham would be killed and he, Og, would be able to marry Sarah. He was hoping that Avraham would get killed and Og would marry Sarah. So there was an ulterior motive. And yet, here, the Torah tells us that this kind deed that was done with a very, very nefarious ulterior motive was what Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid of. Shema Yama Lo Zechuso. Maybe this merit will stand for him. The Sefer Paparos La Torah from Menachem Becker tells us about the fact that even a kindness that's done with an ulterior motive, and it was not even a good ulterior motive, it was really something terrible, nevertheless, that kindness was going to stand in his good stead, because a chesed that a human being does for another has a power that we even can't begin to fathom the depth of that chesed. Can you imagine what is going on when Klal Yisrael is in so much trouble and we want so badly to win this war and to get back our hostages, and what we need are acts of chesed. And sometimes, even if those acts of chesed may not be with the purest of motives, of course, if they're with the purest of motives, alachas kama v'kama, it's going to bring about a great Yeshua for Klal Yisrael. And in Parshas Chukas at the end, it's telling us here that even when there's an ulterior motive that may not be so pure, if we do a chesed for someone else, the power of that chesed so supersedes any ulterior motive or anything that might be of a negative idea. The chesed itself is so powerful that it stands up for Klal Yisrael. All we need is for us to take a little action, to improve a little bit our chesed, to improve a little bit our kindness, hopefully with great ulterior motives, hopefully with altruistic motives, only for the sake of helping another Jew, of making Klal Yisrael more united, bringing us all together, as we say, v'yachad ninatzeach. But here we see at the end of Chukas that that's exactly what is the most powerful way for Klal Yisrael to achieve a victory. And so, Og, despite the ulterior motives, was given credit because he did a chesed. Alachas kama v'kama, the Jewish people, do a chesed. Be kind. Show our love for our Bein Adam Lachaveru, for the fact that Am Yisrael Chadhu, Kudsha Yisrael v'Araisa, Kudsha v'Dirchu Chadhu. We're all one, and we can bring about unbelievable changes in a better way, in a positive way, in a victorious way for Klal Yisrael. Now there's a powerful message of Parshas Chukas. I want to wish everyone a wonderful Shabbat Shalom and Mevarach. Let's spread that chesed a little bit, and let's get it so that without any ulterior motives, we're going to bring about a great Yeshua for Klal Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom u'Mevarach.